I feel like we could shave Wardy and then add his webcam down there too, and it's like three brothers, you know?
It would be. I mean, of course, it's just like, what are you guys basing this off of? That they're white and have glasses and black hair? And I'm like, yes, that's what I'm basing it off.
Exactly.
But yeah. I was saying that, like, HeRoMaRinE, he's been looking a little more off, but you're right. It is just like one of those absurdities. I tried to make it so clear in the desk. Like, yeah, it's like he's playing kind of off, but like round of 4 off. So still not bad whatsoever. But he has been losing to things that I thought in the past he had a really good handle on. You know, like Goblins, surprisingly threw him off, considering his at least 2 best outs that happened previously, recently. That he looked like he was just like, yeah, he knew what Goblin was going to do. And then even losing a semifinal against Lambo recently, was just not what I expected either. Lambo has been getting better at TVZ, and I guess we'll talk more about that when we get into a Lambo match, but it just was a way that I didn't expect HeRoMaRinE to lose. So it feels almost like it is a focus thing. You know, it's just like a couple of different things are kind of off. It's not like he's necessarily just getting worse in one matchup, which can sometimes happen. You kind of get out of the meta. You don't feel as comfortable. It is, kind of rippling through out of all of his matchups. I do want to see that old HeRoMaRinE again, though, that just completely stomps on his opponent, because it is a thing of beauty, and it just makes me want to play Terran and try and perform the same feats. So, the gateways, in an ideal world, I would be really curious to see like a Colossus charge all, and it's like stupidly early, and that's why it works, right? But I'm not sure if this is really going to be it with the timing of the technology. So, well, he's forced to recall his Colossus. It really didn't do a whole lot. I mean, it did 3 SCVs worth of damage, but then he lost so many probes. The Liberator, his build doesn't seem as streamlined either, as HeRoMaRinE is now up to his orbital. And I guess maybe it's a little scary for HeRoMaRinE to put down his orbital. Oh, but he's going to go ahead and do it. And he can. We know that. I'm just like wondering if he's been up against the style before.
I like HeRoMaRinE. He has 6 accounts, or rather 5 accounts in the top 6 GM right now on Europe. And he plays a lot. Krystianer also plays a lot, but I know that Krystianer always plays damn aggressive and weird too. So HeRoMaRinE, he's got to know what he's up against. And so far, I think he's doing a good job. That was some nice fancy micro by Krystianer. But you're not meant to be behind on workers against a Terran, really at any point in the game. So the fact that he is, but also he's massively delayed his third because he went for Colossus drop into DT and a ton of gates. Yeah, this is, he has to get a lot of damage done pretty soon.
It really is those gateways that just feel like it's not as streamlined as it could be. I feel like they could have come down a little bit later and still hit, this timing right now with a faster third, but regardless of that, the nitpicking of his build order, the actual build itself, what it's come down to, charge lot, 1 Colossus, DT is going to try and poke and distracts, and okay, all right, I might see how this is going to work out. All the DTs being spread out, HeRoMaRinE does not see them. They're already getting to work in the natural in the third base. HeRoMaRinE is going to pull a decent amount of units, at least, right, to go ahead and deal with this, and then I guess Krystianer jumps on top of the tanks that might be left alone if the entire bio army goes into the main.
That was, okay, 14 SCVs have gone down thus far, and was that 2 of the DTs being cleaned up?
Yeah, the third one's still in the main.
Okay, I mean, this is exactly what Krystianer needed, and I mean, this was not handled that well by HeRoMaRinE at all. Like, he was absolutely in the lead, but he could, if he was looking carefully, see that blur of those marching in. Maybe he didn't have a scan available. I'm going to have to go back and check on that. But wow, Krystianer, he's back in the game.
Absolutely. I'm guessing he also just keeps outside of here for when the push happens, so he can immediately jump on top of the tanks that aren't siege. I mean, that is a lot of zealots. They have +1, and that's it. So they would be under upgraded. But that was a nice little bopping on the majority of tanks that HeRoMaRinE had, because what the heck is the army just doing there? Why is it there? Well, that's exactly what Krystianer was planning, it looks like. I also feel that with the bio heading into the main base, he could have also tried to jump on top of tanks alone, even with them sieged up, but always better to catch them unsieged. So far, a good mid-game from Krystianer, thanks a lot to those DTs not being seen, and that was absolutely crucial, you're right. They were all together in that choke. If HeRoMaRinE is paying attention, all 3 die. This is a very different game. 1 Nexus for now, but all of his medevacs still alive.
This is where I'm going to be a little bit critical of Krystianer, because he was outside his natural. he didn't know that that army was on the far left side of the map. But why be outside your natural? Like, what are you going to achieve there? So HeRoMaRinE baited with the far right-hand side, went into the natural, took out pretty much 2 Nexus, almost. And this is just Big Gabe kind of getting control again of the game, and he's well back into it.
Of course, yeah. He's got his 4th base up. Planetary is turning into a nice little safe forward position. 3-3 is on the way, as Krystianer has actually been delayed a little bit, so he's only going to have 2-2. He's on a single forge. Oh, well, that would explain it, yeah. Never went into a second forge, which you would usually expect around, like, even the 4th base being slapped down, I would say. But also now outing Storm. Now, it's still both 3 maxed out armies. HeRoMaRiNE's going to have this Planetary, it looks like, and that Warp Prism was a little too far forward. Vikings are available. Planetary not being done, actually. The Mass Repair not going to be able to save it. Krystianer may lose a couple of minutes for it, but oh my god, the Disruptor on the left side certainly made that a better fight, but he takes damage back at home from the drop. Recall is used, but already 12 probes going down. The Medivacs once again able to escape back into all of that dead space from Romanticide.
The supplies are very deceiving because, like, Big Gabe, he just produced a lot of units. He's getting 3-3, so he's going to be ahead in upgrades. But look at this worker count between them as well. Like, he's been decimating Krystianer's economy behind all this. So even though he's been taking damage and a few big disruptor shots, he's been doing so much damage on the other side of the map. But, oh, these disruptors, not bad getting a tank, but did lose one of them on the counter there.
Yeah, second shot wasn't quite close enough to get that second one. Drop in the main is still going to be a distraction. Actually, he's really using SimCity against Krystianer too, because I got to say he's inadvertently let positions where Terran units can just tuck themselves in. I mean, look at that. That is brutal. But I guess more important is the main event. The Vikings do find a Colossus. Disruptors trying to shoot in different directions. As HeRoMaRinE came in from at least 2. He's always trying to get that concave, always trying to mitigate the damage Disruptors can achieve. And now he's maybe even going to go after that base. Yeah, Krystianer's moved a little far backwards from it. Oh, well, that's awkward.
I really like this play from HeRoMaRinE. Like, a bit of it looks a little bit sloppy, but it's because he's doing multiple things at once. It's very, like, old-school Gumiho or a bit TY, like, just doing a lot and keeping the Protoss very busy. So even though a lot of these shots are dealing damage, we're constantly seeing that probe picture on the far left. Probes are dying somewhere on the map, and Gabe is just, he's finding ways to get drops in there constantly, and he's expanding a lot behind this as well. I think the one mistake that I can point out from him, because it's been a fairly flawless game, he has 2 sensor towers pretty much on the same spot, so maybe a little bit nervous there.
Yeah, a little bit of a mistake right there. Maybe it's supposed to be a missile turret to protect, I don't know, but even getting another one.
Okay, I've thought about this. This is like definitely an alpha move by HeRoMaRinE, just to show how big he is, you know?
Yeah, clearly. He has been playing a fantastic drop game, but Krystianer, I feel like, has always been a little bit... initially, he was light on the Stalkers, and now, of course, he has a decent amount. He's got to use them to defend against the Liberators. That makes sense, but the Stalkers not really being able to be split up to defend against the drops has ultimately caused Krystianer to lose this game. He's just been torn apart.
Wow.
Probes going down, units going down. He's taken some okay main engagements occasionally, but every time it seems like Disruptor's getting good hits, he's losing probes, he's losing Nexus as the natural goes down, and he still isn't clearing up all of these drops. They're always just tucked in somewhere waiting to go again.
Yeah, like, you're right, the main engagements are going pretty well for him, but they seem to be Krystianer's goal, whereas that isn't HeRoMaRiNE's goal at all. He's looking to kind of like take a fight and then do multiple things at the same time. So here, this is 3 fights going on at once. Big Gabe losing one of them, but winning the other 2 flawlessly.
And Krystianer is desperately trying to make up for all the times he wasn't in position, right? Like the first time it happens, you're like, okay, that sucked. And then suddenly a second time happens and a third time happens. And all of a sudden you're just already behind. But, you know, you finally start to get things split up. You finally are like on top of where they're going to drop into you. And you're like, okay, now I'm okay, right? Now you're actually down 60 supply and desperately mining off of only 2 bases against HeRoMaRinE, who is now grabbing his 5th base. So Krystianer going to be forced probably into an all-in. Maybe already the supply's not that bad. The Disruptors maybe not going to get any great shots since HeRoMaRinE can get concaves and surrounds. And I mean, he could have also just gone the Liberator path, which he did for a second there, but is now just back in the massing bio.
You know, there's like some statistics I would love in StarCraft 2. Like, how long has this particular medevac spent inside of Krystianer's base? Because, like, I feel like Big Gabe's been inside Krystianer's base as much as Krystianer's been inside his own base, kind of thing. Because he's just been dropping all the way through. And 81 probes have been killed this game, which is an insane number. But it just shows how chaotic it has truly been between these two.
Maybe we can get to 100 before the game ends, but Krystianer, he knows he's got to go up against a planetary. Not just a lot of bio, but also a planetary. And that's going to be, I think, just too much to bust. His Disruptor is now down to a count of just one. Actually, you know, two. Second one was back there behind the grass, but that's not going to really cut dealing with the bio and dealing with the planetary. So maybe he could try and find another avenue of attack. Left side's only an orbital, I suppose, but he is just going to pull back and try and play this game out.
I think the main thing that I've really enjoyed about Big Gabe's play this game, and you know, all jokes and memes aside, his transitioning has been absolutely on point here. Like, even though it's been truly chaotic and he took so much damage earlier, he managed to get right back on track, right on the train, and continued on the rail. And he's getting Liberator range now with 2 starports fully functioning. He's got bio, ghosts, you name it. Like, he's just playing a very, very good TVP here.
It's kind of crazy to think of when it started this whole drop phase, right? He was kind of the one who had to think of something else to do because he took so much damage from the DTs. And I was like, well, does he really play out the passive game? Does he just try and take a main engagement? And if he had, I feel like Krystianer is all over him. You know, he's paying attention to a big move out and has disruptors looking for the shots and charge lots on top of those tanks like he did in the first fight. And instead here, he's like, well, I'm just going to kind of play a little defensive at home and just drop you, which, I mean, it's always going to be difficult, especially on a map like Romanticide, where you see so much dead space between the bases. I mean, I knew it was the case, but HeRoMaRiNE's really making it look super abusive. Krystianer, I guess if he gets in a similar position again in the next games, I think we got to talk about the next game. I feel like he'd be so much more eager to get a lot of Blink Stalkers, honestly. I always feel like he just doesn't have quite as many as he needs. This mass Archon army is going to melt against the EMPs, and that is going to be it. GG, HeRoMaRiNE takes game number 1.
You know, I'm more...
Krystianer.
And spawning over in the bottom left, as the Blue Terran currently 1-0 up, it is HeRoMaRiNE.
I am in total agreement with you about the vetoes being a little odd, though. You know, and I guess maybe just... Because I feel like for Death Aura, if he was playing Goblin, I think I would be like, oh yeah, because that mass carrier thing's kind of obnoxious, and Death Aura is a pretty straight up macro is pretty good on it. But yeah, it's not Krystianer though, unless maybe that is one of the weird styles he can play, and it's still scary. But I would expect HeRoMaRiNE to go for the maps that have like the high ground natural, you know, the ramp leading into your natural, something safe, and then the high ground like 3-base triangle setup. So yeah, I maybe just not feeling comfortable in particular right now in the matchup on those maps.
Yeah, and you know, like
lots, and the risk is always that it might do something. Oh my god, it's gonna do so much. Oh, 5 probes already going down. Is that you probably can't escape with it thanks to the Phoenix. So that's always the trade-off here. HeRoMaRiNE gonna try and target one of these down. Already fantastic. Let's try to see if the medevac doesn't really work out, but if he can get another Phoenix, that would be great. Actually, not targeting.
No, I mean, that could have been way better for him. I mean, HeRoMaRiNE, he is doing something else on the map. That seems to be the tale of his story, is he's doing 2 things at once throughout this series, and he's moving out. He loves to punish the Phoenix play, because, you know, it's not necessarily super strong at dealing with the army straight up, and that drop definitely got quite a bit of damage done.
Yeah, when I saw him pull back with this, I was like, oh, I guess he won't do another attack, but I guess he really was just waiting for Krystianer to respond like he did. And that was the perfect time for him to bop that 3rd Nexus. It was a cancel, but it was so far gone, it really was a painful cancel for Krystianer. And now his 3rd base is going to go over on the other side, which I think both are fair bases to take, but clearly not his first preference.
I feel that this bunker here is also an alpha move. Although these Marines, they better get out of there, but he is dealing with the Phoenix. They do get away, and I mean, costing Big Gabe a scan there, that's something that Krystianer can look at and be kind of happy about. Big Gabe is definitely getting awfully supply blocked this series. Again, he's at 86 out of 86 without a depot being made. Granted, the third is going to finish soon, but still, trying to put a depot right under those Phoenix. That was ballsy.
Yeah, didn't quite work out. HeRoMaRinE still has this pretty nice army, though, and Krystianer's Phoenix, while they're doing some damage, Viking's going to get some return damage, and also the Phoenix are no longer helping out in the main engagement. That Immortal is not helping out. Another Viking in the main base is going to grab quite a few probes. HeRoMaRinE, I guess, was hoping to find another Nexus to bop, but I think he's now going to realize it is on that other third. And go check that out. Phoenixes are recalled. And that's exactly where HeRoMaRiNE's going. He's like, well, I didn't bop the base. I'm going to find it, then I'm going to bop it.
This use of the Vikings after the push, absolutely genius. Like, they two-shot probes, and like this army, it's very difficult to engage. Forcing the Phoenix back home. He sees Phoenix back home, and then he pushes again. I mean, yes, it was thwarted by Krystianer, but HeRoMaRinE, he's landing himself in a really good position this game. Yes, his stim and stuff is late, but he's getting +1/+1, which I think will be quite a bit before the Protoss is done. But also just, he's actually decent on the work count as well, like more than decent.
Yeah. And Krystianer, I guess, very appropriately hoping to find something, delay the third CC, as he did clean up that attack. I think HeRoMaRinE was hoping that he was a little bit later to it, so his lock-ons could happen on the Nexus itself. But yeah, he kind of gets pushed back here, but HeRoMaRinE, with decent enough macro, even with some of the kind of odd supply blocks, has plenty to defend the third. Krystianer takes what he can and then gets out of there, which means that they are currently on the equal economy, but much later upgrades for Krystianer. He's going to try and get into the Colossus and Storm, it looks like, or at least Archons to back it up.
It is so funny looking at the production tab of Krystianer. Like, I'll just see gateways pop up at what I think is very random times. You know, like normally I see a Protoss trying to go for like maybe a fourth Nexus around about now. But Krystianer, he's crazy, man. Like, I played this guy a lot on the ladder. One of the ways that he very often catches me off guard is just the fact that he will attack you very, very strongly. Like, right where you kind of expect an attack, but you're like, nah, it won't happen, will it? And then boom, like 160 supply at your front door comes a knocking. But we'll see. We'll see what happens here, because his army, it is looking scary. Getting the Warp Prism as well does usually mean he's going to try and be aggressive.
Yeah, at the very least, hopefully sending it in when it is least, when it's going to do the most damage, I guess, for HeRoMaRinE, when it's going to bother him the most. The Vikings already getting a couple of probe kills, plus a Stalker, because Vikings are kind of insane. Yep, that anti-mechanical. Hell of a drug. 5 probes and a Stalker, still pretty good. Maybe a distraction as well, but then HeRoMaRinE is not pushing out. In fact, it's Krystianer, who, you were right, is using that Warp Prism with all those gateways finishing, and hopefully chrono boosting that extended thermal lance to push into HeRoMaRinE. I'm not sure we can actually get done, though. HeRoMaRinE did this last game, too. A little bit of Sim City to help out, and that choke as well. I mean, Krystianer, is he really going to force this?
I mean, this would be the perfect timing, right? That dropship of HeRoMaRinE is moving out, and Krystianer, he's moving in. Nice lifts on the tanks. That is a very, very strong army. Big Gabe realizes it very quickly, moves back with his drop as well. And Krystianer is in the middle of a massive concave that he's kind of made himself. And HeRoMaRinE does hold the first wave, and that poor Disruptor, that is not where you want to be.
Nope, got rallied. Fortunate AI, I guess? Maybe? No, it's not going to survive. No, his army's not close enough to save it. That's too bad.
Yeah, that Disruptor was almost like freaking Frodo, wandered right into the middle of Mordor, and then almost got out of there. But yeah, Krystianer, he's now taken a fourth, and he's on the single forge again, so he's going to be falling quite far behind in upgrades. And I think we're just going to see kind of a repeat of what happened last game, where Big Gabe just goes drop crazy, and Krystianer just, what does he do after his attack doesn't work?
I mean, he certainly could go drops. He's cleaned up most, if not all, the Phoenix. Or 0 Phoenix. There you go. So, and Blink isn't done. And even if it is, Krystianer had trouble against the drops last game. I do wonder if maybe this game it is going to be a little bit more of the direct push. We got only single drops coming in from the left and right, so maybe it's going to be a little bit easier to clean up. And just remark on that engagement, the Warp Prism being targeted by the drop that came back was pretty huge. And then also, I want to say, I wish that Krystianer had set up any amount of Zealot on the right side, so that if and when the Phoenix got targeted and the tanks did their job, it'd at least be distracted by something. But Can't replay that engagement. Krystianer has to go from that 30 supply down with later upgrades and a later Nexus against a HeRoMaRinE, who I think is now feeling very confident, maxing himself out, getting upgrades, and also perfecting his army, which includes Drilling Claws. Even though we don't have that many, we actually don't have any Widow Mines in play.
It's one of those things, right? Like, you're getting ready. I do wonder if he just plans on like changing the factory to a reactor at some point, or adding on a second one. I mean, that's what I'd do if I committed to that kind of upgrade, because I mean, just make things a lot cooler. But yeah, he's going full late game again. Like, this is good Ghost Academy. This kind of map also kind of lends itself rather to nuke play. But this is a really big, scary army that you have to respect if you're Krystianer.
With the Disruptors involved, HeRoMaRinE absolutely has to respect Krystianer. So you can be clicking on their upgrades and saying, like, yeah, I win this, right? Especially if I mass EMP as much as you want. But if you're not splitting and concaving against those Disruptors, you're in for trouble. Another option is, of course, having those tanks kind of deal with them. It is that very awkward micro battle between the two that only really works if the tanks are actually sieged. So HeRoMaRinE getting them sieged up, takes on that fight okay, and then is going to get them sieged up on the high ground. Disruptor's not really getting any shots. One injures, not even. It actually gets taken out before exploding on that tank, and Krystianer is falling back, not looking so hot to defend that fourth.
Do Disruptor Novas move faster in the speed zones as well?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, then I really hate speed zones. But this, yeah, HeRoMaRinE, he's doing so well here. Like, again, he's just dropping. He's taking Krystianer out from the inside. These tanks do get picked off from behind, which is a nice move by Krystianer. But, like, even if you survive here, you lost your 4. And HeRoMaRinE, look at this, taking out all the probes here. And now he's got a drop. And Krystianer's on the wrong side of this, and yet again. Oh, and a Viking in the main.
Yeah. Dude, no, there's also a Viking in the third that has killed the entire third base mineral line. That Viking is going to have like 16 kills, man. The main base is not going so hot for Krystianer. He's currently at half the supply, and that is going to be a tap out time.